Time now for the voice of the land on the Big Play Network with your hosts, Kevin Arnold and Always Positive Jay.
That's the whole show.
What a way to start. As Jay just pays no attention to the open of the show. We've been off for a little while, and yet the same stuff is still going on. Boy, I can't.
I feel like I'm in a Twilight Zone edition of being a Browns fan. It's like do 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 do, and I just keep waking up to it's like Groundhog Day.
Yeah, it's Groundhog's Day. That's what it is. It's Groundhog Day.
Yeah, but that movie was funny. None of this is funny.
No, none of this is funny. None of this is fun. None of this, and my basketball team is not helping right now. There's too many injuries. We don't have a manager.
Our freaking pets are falling off.
At least Ohio State is number one in some stupid cockamamie early college football playoff thing.
That was cool. I'm not going to lie. That was cool.
We'll talk about that and so much more right here on The Voice of the Land. We will be joined by Hayden Grove of Cleveland.com coming up at 8:15. The big voice guy said our names. I'm Kevin Arnold. He's Always Positive Jay. Peter Tellep is our producer extraordinaire here with us as well. We are brought to you by Vector Technical. They'll get the right person, the right job the first time. Of course, partner with LPV Productions and proud to be a part of the Big Play family. We are live right now on our YouTube channel and YouTube channel only. Let me see if I can actually get it open.
I retweeted it out there, I'm pretty sure.
Well, yeah, I tweeted and...
Yeah, it's out there.
I'm sorry, Voice of the Land, our digital team, tweeted, X'd, and Facebooked that we're on YouTube.
They're on X?
Yeah, they're on X.
Yikes.
Yeah, I know, right?
We need to hire new people.
That's a scary, scary thought.
That's why I will always call it Twitter. I'm telling you, I'm just not kidding.
Yeah, I always call it Twitter. I don't think anybody has a problem with it. What's Elon Musk going to do to me? Send me to space?
Maybe.
Okay. Well, you know, I'd rather do that than be a Browns fan right now because our quarterback is practicing, guys. Our quarterback's practicing. Oh, he's day-to-day. Oh, he's not practicing. Oh, he might play. Oh, he's not playing PJ Watt. Oh, he's in the game. Oh, well, he's coming back out. Oh, my goodness. Like this never-ending cycle. And this, I'm not taking a shot at Deshaun Watson directly because he's got an injury that I don't think was ever diagnosed properly to begin with. Or if it was, and the Browns knew that this could take a little while, and they started going with the day-to-day, boy, is that a bad look on Coach Stefanski and this front office. And if they're just parading Coach Stefanski out there to say day-to-day, and the higher-ups know what's going on and knew that this was going to take a while, and they're using him as a scapegoat, well, that's even a worse look.
Here's my deal. We're from Cleveland. We're supposed to have, these amazing hospitals around here, the top-notch hospitals. And it feels like we always have, injury problems and weird things. Baker was diagnosed, cleared by doctors, clearly wasn't good to go. Same people did the same thing with Deshaun Watson, said he was cleared, clearly wasn't good to go. I think it's time to move on from the medical staff, maybe. I don't know. Jana, I mean,
hey,
Jana was in there.
She's always
I
looking for a
bet
job.
Deshaun would be ready to go.
Yeah, well, she wouldn't take a job there right now.
That's another subject.
Yeah, that's a whole nother issue. That's not. Yeah, we're not.
They keep rolling those dollar bills in, maybe swayed.
Money wise, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to have to pay her. You're getting the top doctor we know.
Yes, and tells me what injury players have before the next day when the actual results come out, the MRI or X-ray saying, oh, yep, that person's got a torn Achilles. Oh,
she called mine. She saw me
did.
fall. Jay tore his Achilles. I'm like, thanks.
Yeah, well, it was so she diagnosed that right there on the field.
Yeah,
didn't need any test, any equipment. Didn't even.
I
have
didn't
a
either,
medical
though.
bag.
I knew that, but I felt it. So that's
yeah. You had to go through it. She just knew it.
Oh man.
I could talk about anything else, but
at least one thing I'm glad that is over. We don't have to deal with is we need to trade for Josh Dobbs. If I hear her, oh my God, that was driving me insane. And the whole time I'm like, they're not going to trade a quarterback they have to play them to beat them. What were people thinking? Oh, it was driving me nuts. I'm sorry. I had to get it off my chest.
Did people not put 2 and 2 together on that?
No. I'm like, why in the hell would Arizona be like, hey, we're playing you next week? Wait, you need a backup quarterback that knows your system?
And now knows
sure.
our system?
Have it. Hey, go ahead. Let's get at it. Let's
gives that defense.
That. We'll give you maybe a 5th rounder or something that we gave you for him. We'll just trade it back and help you out, help you beat us, because NFL teams are always out helping each other out. Clearly, we've been helped out so many times from other teams.
Yeah.
The Brissett thing didn't bother me, but the Dobbs thing was driving me absolutely insane. I just was tuning in and out of sports talk, and
I guess the Brissett thing didn't. None of it affected me because I don't. I almost said it. I'm so tired. I almost said it. I don't give a crap about what some weird select group of Browns Twitter, Browns X is trying to drum up. Like every player that comes available, they try to. Cleveland
Thank you
teams have
for
to
calling
go
it Browns Twitter though, and not Browns fans. Thank you, because I want to get into that again. Because clearly people aren't getting the point.
But like even Browns Twitter, it's like still like a select group. I don't know how many those people are, but it's like we're on Twitter. We're part of Browns Nation. We're not like that. We're not going after, we're not saying all these crazy things. We're not just like, oh, you got to get this person. You got to get that person. First off, they don't have to do anything that they don't feel like is going to help their team. Number 2, it takes 2 to tango in a trade. And if you're going to sign a free agent, it takes 2 to tango there, the agent, the player, and the team. So, everybody always complains about the moves the Browns make or they don't make. But, what if they tried and the other side won't go? Or they know already, they already have the information that, hey, this isn't a possibility. We're not going to pursue it because this person's just going to keep shutting us down and shutting us down. You gotta see reality sometimes. Now, I don't want to talk about Deshaun Watson too long. He's back at practice today.
That's why I want to have Hayden on. He was there. He's seen him. I asked him if he'd come on.
We'll talk to him about how he felt he looked. I heard Tony Grossi and what he had to say.
I haven't heard that yet on Grossi.
I will say, so Tony Grossi, the Browns analyst for ESPN Cleveland, in town. Excuse me. I don't know why. This weather is just absolutely killing me right now. I feel absolutely fine, and yet congestion, sinuses, allergies. If you deal with that, I feel your pain right now. Literally feeling your pain right now. But Tony Grossi said that he looked better than the last time he saw him when he's thinking he shouldn't go in the Indianapolis game, but not as good as the way Twitter was blowing it up to be. So, still kind of a discomfort with it. Tony Grossi, at least, if he's the starter, uneasy. We'll see how the week goes, but at least Deshaun's practicing on Wednesday, and it's not like his first day is Thursday. So see how he reacts tonight. If he practices again tomorrow, maybe he looks a little bit better, and maybe he looks a little bit better on Friday, so then he's back in a rhythm. It's going to take a little bit in that Arizona game to get going. But this team overall, Jay, we haven't had a chance to talk over the last couple of weeks. They're now 4-3, got 2 wins back-to-back, a really good win against the San Francisco 49ers. Squeaked one out against the Indianapolis Colts. This defense let Gardner Minshew just run all over them. They got the stop. They got the touchdown that they needed right at the end of the game. And then you had a chance to win in Seattle, and you let it slip away. And the defense allowing, of course, the turnover, the interception by P.J. Walker. But they were on their own side of the field. Defense just let them march right down. And our former boy, kind of still my boy, Ohio State player, JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba, scores the winning touchdown.
Oh, that was so painful. I'm like, oh,
it was painful because I'm like same thing.
That's what we're used to. But I mean, they're still 4-3. You have a chance, and this is probably, I'm not gonna say a must-win game in terms of if you want to get back on track. This is a must-win game. This is a game you have to win. You have to get.
You should.
You should win against the Cardinals, who are trying to tank. selling off players. They're benching a guy that was not the problem. They might bring back Kyler Murray against Myles Garrett in this defensive front when he hasn't played in over a year, or they're going to start a rookie.
He was playing something. Probably his Xbox.
Probably his Xbox. Wonder if he's actually studied a playbook this year. They should get this win because guess what's looming the next week? Back-to-back games, Baltimore, and I believe Pittsburgh is the week right after that. If you really want to make headway in this division, you need to get to 5-3, keep that game between you and Baltimore, and tie up the season series. They got to win on your home field. You're going to have to go get a win on their home field if you are still trying to think about the division. You lose that game, the division's out the window.
What happened to that defense in that last drive?
What's happened
like,
to them?
Do you think, I haven't heard too many people say this, and after the interception, the momentum shift, like, do you think that helped that offense, like, dramatically a lot for the Seattle team? Because it's like they just came out on fire all of a sudden. They were stagnant. Our defense was holding them. They got that interception. It was just like, doop, right down the field.
Well, if you remember, the drive before for the Seahawks, they made some headway, and then Myles Garrett came up with that big sack to get them out of field goal range to tie up the game. So the Seattle Seahawk offense already had that momentum. Now the energy feeds into you, the adrenaline feeds into you when your defense comes up with a big turnover. I'm not going to get into whether they should have run the ball, passed the ball, whatever. Like, I can say that they should have ran, but
hindsight's 50 or
2020.
2020. Yeah,
50,
not 50-50, but
half the time you see what's going on.
Stefanski drew up a great play because there's 3 or 4 guys open, So not getting into
That's
that.
the thing. You drew up a great play, but did you have the personnel in the position that should have been operating?
Well, and if they would have run it and not gotten it, everyone would be saying they should have passed it because they were expecting the run.
Not as much, I don't think. But there'd be some because there's always someone going to complain.
You're always going to have Monday morning quarterbacks that are going to say.
The only time they don't complain is when it works.
Yeah.
And then there's still some people that will
they still complain.
Yeah, still going to be people that complain in that situation. But, yeah, the interception just fed more adrenaline. But I go back to that drive before where the defense started to let up again like they did before. Look, I know that it's frustrating that your offense, you guys think that you're this best in the world defense. Well, you haven't shown it the last 2 weeks, and you gave up the game-winning drive against the San Francisco 49ers. You got lucky that they missed a 41-yard field goal. The rookie kicker missed a 41-yard field goal. You've given up game-ending drives too often. You got to close the game. You can be all upset that you want. You have to understand the situation. P.J. Walker's the quarterback or DTR is the quarterback because your main quarterback is hurt. This offense leads the league in turnovers at 17. The Browns lead the league at 17 turnovers. You need to go out there and get a stop.
Like, do you guys,
I understand all they needed was like 20
turnovers. Do you realize how good our record probably is? Unbelievable. Like, just little things like that you got to clean up.
Right.
But here's the good thing on the defense is they could show how dominant they could be. They show how great they really can be. All they need to do now is just focus and play the entire game that way, which they can.
Right.
I totally can. And I hope that's their next step of learning how, because this defense came out on fire. And everyone, you know how it is. You're going to get better, and you're going to get better, and you're going to get better as the season goes on if you're a good team. So hopefully that's what happens.
But I think you also have to have an offense that actually produces because you have to give the defense some time to recover.
Right.
Because they go all out. Garrett goes
I know.
all out. They're, sucking wind in between plays. But if the offense goes out and they're 3 and out, the defense can't maintain that for a whole game.
Yeah.
And I understand. It's somehow something transitioned where they started getting turnovers, the defense did, but everything else that they were doing during the season just went away. So, I don't know. We'll talk to Hayden Grove about this defense. Watson, We'll see how much he actually wants to talk about that, because I know everybody in this town is kind of over that, breaking down every pass like we've always done with every quarterback. But we will talk to him next, get into some Browns, maybe a little Cavs as well as we transition through our show. We got a lot to cover. We only got a little bit of time left. This is the Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network.
Whether you're looking to hire new talent or start a new career, Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that has helped thousands of job seekers advance in their career with reputable partners throughout northeastern Ohio. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. With an above-average hire-in rate of 1 in 4 candidates, Vector works hard to connect the right person with the right opportunity the first time. Vector Technical hires for skilled manufacturing and light industrial work and is sure to have a career that you've been looking for. To learn more, visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com.
Welcome back to the Voice of the Land right here on the Big Play Network. Kevin Arnold alongside Always Positive Jay and Peter Tellup, our producer extraordinaire. What Jarvis was to Iron Man Audio, as we call him, is to the Voice of the Land. We welcome on our guest tonight. He is Hayden Grove. He is from Cleveland.com. He was at Browns practice today. You've seen him all over town covering all of the different events. Hayden, thank you so much for taking some time tonight to join us, and I'm sure a lot to cover from practice today, huh?
I mean, yeah, I guess. It is what it. I mean, I don't know. There's, like I just told you guys, they're just throwing the ball around, so
Yeah.
not too much to glean off of this or that.
I saw a lot of people, doing their posting their videos out there from practice, but you guys only have a certain amount of time to really see it. What do they do after, once the doors are closed on you guys, things like that. I guess just from your perspective, based on maybe what you saw the last time that Watson returned to practice from his time off with his shoulder injury to this version, did it look different? Did it feel different, even though they're not really doing much in the period you guys can watch?
Yeah, no, it looked different. I thought there was some real zip on the ball, and I know that people saw my tweet and said, "Oh, you're an idiot," whatever. But it's just my personal opinion that he did have more zip than he did. Last week he was throwing balls into the dirt and it really just looked bad. But today it looked at least serviceable. The ball was coming out well. Wasn't necessarily airing it out and throwing it 100 miles an hour, but on the short throws, a lot of zip on the ball, and I was just telling it like I saw it, and people didn't like that, and that's fine. But I do think he had zip on the ball, and I think he looked a ton better than he did last week, or against the Colts, I should say.
Yeah. Do you think that we know how much this information each and every single week, day to day, as Kevin Stefanski likes to say, we're following this day by day by day over the last 6 weeks. And it's weighing on fans. I'm sure some media it's weighing on as well. Just kind of frustrating. Don't really want to talk about it as often. Do you get a sense that it's weighing on the players at all as well, especially having to be asked about it so often?
I don't think so, because the job for them stays the same, right? The running back's going to run the same. Going to do the same thing, whether he's have his PJ Walker back there or has Deshaun Watson back there. Amari Cooper's going to run the same route whether he has Deshaun Watson back there or PJ Walker out there. So maybe a little bit for the receivers more so than anybody else, but Joe Bitonio's going to do his job regardless. Wyatt Teller's going to do his job regardless. Kareem Hunt's going to do his job regardless. Maybe Kareem Hunt has to adjust a little bit to a handoff difference, but it's not that much. So no, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I really don't.
I think the winning helps a lot too.
Yeah, and I think the more frustrating thing is for the coaching staff, having to adjust to a different game plan, a different player, or the Deshaun Watson just not being able to play. That's got to be frustrating. I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, he doesn't want to play." I don't necessarily agree with that at all. I think he does want to play. I think he wants to prove that he's the quarterback that he was in Houston, and he hasn't been able to do that yet, whether he's been healthy or not. So, with each opportunity that he doesn't have to do that, I think it gets more and more frustrating.
Yeah, the notion that the guy doesn't want to play is asinine, honestly. You've seen how hard this whole offseason, everyone else was doing their thing, and Deshaun Watson was constantly working hard. He really wants to become who he once was. Like, I really believe that. If he can, time will tell. I'm not going to sit there and try to predict that.
No, I agree. I think that there's a lot with Deshaun Watson, obviously, but I think the one thing, you're right. I think that he absolutely wants to get back out there and play and play to his capabilities that he had, in 2020. I think some of the things he says are BS. To be honest with you, I think that him saying he's super secure in himself and very confident. I don't agree with that at all. I think he's completely not confident in who he is anymore. And I think that's probably part of the reason he wants to go out and play and prove that he is that guy. So like,
it's funny you say that. I thought the same thing. I'm like, a confident person doesn't have to say I'm confident in myself. You know it. You portray it. They don't have to say it. If you're
APJ,
not,
you nailed it.
Yeah, you're gonna want people to think you are because you're not, and that's how I saw that. And
APJ,
I was like, that's kind of weird.
Jay, you nailed it. No person in the world that is super confident in themselves is going to say, I'm very, very confident. I'm very, very secure. That's not how that works. So I think it's a huge adjustment for Deshaun. He's never been a villain. You remember when LeBron was a villain in Miami for that first year?
Yeah.
He hated it. He didn't play well. I think Deshaun's kind of the same way. I don't think he's adjusted to kind of being vilified by the NFL yet. I don't think he's adjusted to a lot of even the home fans not being fans of him. So like, I think he knows that the only thing that can turn around the viewpoint on him is his play. And he hasn't been playing well, and he's played well in one game. So like, he does want to get back out there and be like, okay, if I play well, people will love me again. But until then, he's not going to be confident. He's not going to be secure in himself. And I just think that's the reality of the situation.
And his whole life, he's grown up like, you're awesome. You're the great. You're the man. That's what he's been told his whole life and into Houston.
His whole life.
And then when all that stuff went down in Houston and he didn't want to play with them, and then he got in the court cases after that, it's never been the same for him ever since that. And that's why I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
And it's human nature. I mean, that could be anybody and me. Like, everyone's
of course.
Like I dare anyone to feel what that feels like, to have the world kind of hate you and stuff, Deserving or not deserving is
right.
God's call. I'm not here to make that, but
right. We're not here to judge, but like, there are people that are going to judge, and like, it's just reality. You're right. It's human nature. Like, I don't necessarily, think that people should be vilifying Deshaun Watson, but like, it's reality. Like, we all have, everybody there are people that hate me. There are people that hate you. It is what it is. So like, dealing with that can be difficult, and I don't think he's adjusted well to it whatsoever. So again, I think the only thing that's going to kind of build him back up is playing well, and we'll see if he can play well. I think the jury's still out on whether he can play or not. I think a lot of people are, not very excited about it and not very, hopeful that he can be Deshaun Watson, but the reality is that it's still out there in front of him.
Hayden Grove from Cleveland.com is our guest. Hayden, to move on from Deshaun Watson, this defense giving up a lot of yards, especially to Gardner Minshew 2 weeks ago, and then giving up the final drive this past week. They were put in a difficult situation after the interception. They've been getting more turnovers, but giving up a lot more yards, getting out of their gaps, getting out of their lanes. What are you seeing from this defense? Are they reading their press clippings too much after, like, Juan Thornhill saying they're the best in the world? Are they eating that up a little bit too much and maybe got away from what Jim Schwartz initially started with them back in OTAs?
No, I don't necessarily believe that. I think that the league, when you go from week to week, the league gets better and people figure each other out. And, I think especially the Seattle game, I mean, the Browns really, after the first drive or so, they settled in. That's a hard environment to play in, and they found a way to settle in and play really well. And I give Jim Schwartz credit for great adjustments. The last drive, I don't think any defense was going to play well on that drive. All momentum that you had just goes out the window. All they need is a field goal to it's tough. So, I'm still gung ho on this defense. I think that they're well coached. I think they're a really good aggressive unit. I think that we have to give credit sometimes to the other teams, right? Like, Indianapolis, whether they're a good team or not, they are well coached. I like their situation. Jonathan Taylor is a good running back. They have a good offensive line. They did some good things in that game. Seattle's obviously a 5-2 football team at this point. I mean, they're a good football team for a reason. They have a good defense. They have, Geno Smith plays well. So like, you're just not gonna allow 14 points a week playing really good competition. And I'm not saying the Indianapolis Colts are the best competition, but Seattle is a good team, and they were at home, and it's a tough environment. I can't kill the defense the way they played.
Yeah, and I don't think you're ever going to see like a Baltimore's their historic defense or the '85 Bears kind of. The rules are just not set up to have defense that can do that anymore. It's set up to they want them to score points. And it's hard. It's harder than ever to play defense right now. On top of the fact that these quarterbacks and wide receivers coming out now are so insanely athletic and fast, and it's just hard to play. It's really hard to play defense in the NFL, I think, right now. But they do need to do a better job at stalling these last drives these teams have been putting together.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, the 2-minute offense has not been good. You saw it against San Francisco. You saw it against Indianapolis. You saw it against the Seahawks. Maybe that's part of Jim Schwartz's kind of scheme that doesn't really, they're not really built for that. They're built to kind of dominate from the get-go and then not have to worry about the 2 minutes. So, because 2 minutes not easy for defensive linemen. It's just not. I mean, and the Browns have a very defensive lineman dominant scheme with a 5 wide or the 9 wide. So, defensive linemen do get tired when they're running 2 minutes. They're going a little faster. Those guys aren't getting as good a pass rush. That can make things difficult.
Last thing on the Browns. Credit to Stefanski. I don't know if enough people do that. This team is 4-3. Everything that they've already been through, we feel like we've been through at times a couple different seasons within one with how this whole first 7 games have gone on.
There's literally a list of things he's overcome. You're leading the league in turnovers. You're on your 3rd string quarterback. Your number 1 offensive threat in Chubb is out. Your left tackle's out. Like, I got to give it to Stefanski, and I was a little hard on him at the beginning of the season.
Hayden, how do you assess Stefanski and the job he's done this year and just in general?
It's really hard. I've been very hard on Kevin, and I'll continue to be hard on Kevin. But also, like you said, they've overcome a lot. They've gone through, different quarterbacks, and they lost this hard Soler team with Nick Chubb. But I think the reality is this, guys, and maybe I'm being too hard. I don't know. But I think the reality is this. You sold your soul for Deshaun Watson, right? And you sold your soul for Deshaun Watson so that you could win a Super Bowl. You didn't sell your soul for Deshaun Watson to be an okay team. You didn't sell your soul for Deshaun Watson to, maybe make the playoffs here and there. You sold your soul for Deshaun Watson to win you a Super Bowl. So anything less than that is a failure. And right now, the Deshaun Watson experiment is an F-. So everybody who vouched for the Deshaun Watson experience should be getting an F-. Kevin Stefanski included. So if Deshaun Watson continues to struggle and continues to not play well and they don't win games, Kevin Stefanski is going to be fired. Period. End. That's just the bottom line. But with the job that he's done without Deshaun Watson, I think he's been fine. But that's the unfortunate reality is that Kevin Stefanski is going to be judged, for better or for worse, on what happens with Deshaun Watson. So, if Deshaun Watson plays this week and they go and they win 5 games in a row, then we're going to be, saying how great this was and how great Kevin was and how great Deshaun is. Well, guess what? That doesn't happen, Kevin Stefanski is going to be gone. So Kevin Stefanski hitched his wagon to Deshaun Watson, and that's going to be that. So it's kind of at this point, I kind of give him an incomplete because he's not.
I'll put it this way, dude. Let's say they have a winning record, defense is doing pretty damn good, just miss out in the playoffs, but Deshaun Watson, the offense is just the same.
Done.
Out.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm going to call. I'm going to tell you right now what's going to happen.
I could see him out of the corner of my eye because we got the screen here. I'm looking in the camera to make it look like I'm looking at Hayden. I can see out of the corner of my eye. He's giving that signal.
Yeah. I'll call it right now what'll happen. I think they'll keep Schwartz and try to hire Eric Bieniemy as the head coach.
Well, whatever it is, you can't miss the playoffs. You can't. You can't. I mean, the only if you miss the playoffs and Deshaun doesn't play, then I think there's even bigger issues like, do you look at Andrew Berry for getting fired? Do you look for Kevin Stefanski getting fired? Do you look for, Jimmy Haslam to take some blame? I mean, if Deshaun Watson's not playing, this is 2 years in now. So I don't know. It's a very difficult situation. And if Deshaun plays and they miss the playoffs, Kevin's got to go.
Hayden Grove, Cleveland.com is our guest. Just a couple more things just to switch to the other teams here real quick. And probably two teams that feel okay right now that Browns and Deshaun Watson are the main story that everybody talks about, and they're kind of being overlooked. And one team is the Cavaliers that are actually playing right now in New York. We know that they're dealing with a lot of injuries, and it's an 82-game season. Not going to overreact to being 1-3, but one player specifically that, with some of the guys that are out, look for him to step up. Evan Mobley, now in his third year, kind of underwhelming to start. What are you looking for from him this season to really know that he has turned that corner as he gets deeper into his NBA career?
This is such a hard one because I think Evan Mobley is a really good player, but I just don't know if he's going to ever be able to shine if he has guys like Darius and Donovan around him. Like, he's always going to be the third, fourth option. Because Donovan is a superstar and should be treated as such and should play as such. Darius Garland is a 3-point shooter and is a great player and potential superstar in his own right. So, like, the days of Dirk Nowitzki and KG are gone. Like, you don't play that way anymore. Unless Evan Mobley can hit threes, I don't think he's going to be I don't think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. I just don't think that's how they play. Like, it's just unfortunately the reality of the situation. Maybe Giannis kind of, changed that mold a little bit, but I don't think Evan Mobley is Giannis. So I'm willing to give Evan Mobley a little more time than everybody else is giving him right now, kind of coming at him because, it's the start of the season, injuries happen, whatever. But like, Chris Fedor is my podcast host on the One and Gold Talk podcast, and he talks all the time about how the Cavaliers, are gung-ho on Evan Mobley and think he's going to be a Hall of Famer, and like, that's their most important player, that's their best player, and I couldn't disagree more because he's your third or fourth option right now offensively. So how can he be your best player? Like, okay, he can be a defense player of the year, and that's great, and I love that, but then why are we calling him, like, he can be a Hall of Famer as a defense player of the year every year, but then you can't focus on his offense. Like, Ben Wallace is a Hall of Famer. Ben Wallace is going to be in the Hall of Fame, but like, he wasn't an offensive player. Well, it doesn't seem like Evan Mobley's an offensive player right now. So I don't expect that to come. I just don't. I don't think it's going to happen in this NBA unless he's able to develop a 3-point shot, and it just doesn't seem like he's going to.
He reminds me of, is it Rick Smits from the Pacers?
Yeah.
That's what he reminds me of. Like, that's what I see, like, his ceiling right now. I agree. I think Donovan Mitchell is the man in Cleveland. Like, me and Kevin were at the game. Center court dude scored 71 points. He should be their main focus right now in Cleveland, and Garland's too.
Yeah, but everybody talks about all the time that Evan Mobley is the player that if Donovan Mitchell does, move on, and that's not going to get into that conversation right now, but if he does move on, like, Evan Mobley is the person they're supposed to be building this team around. But even as a third or fourth option, to know that you're on the track to being a superstar player, when you get the ball, you have to be more decisive. There's games where he is and he's aggressive, and there's too many games that I've seen in the past where, he's a nice kid. He's a nice person. You can't be that way on the floor, especially if you're going to be a big man out there. You need to assert yourself like Julius Randle did against him last night.
If you're gonna be the number one option, you have to play like Giannis, and he's not nearly Giannis. He's nowhere near Giannis, and like, Giannis put on muscle, and Giannis found a way to get big and strong, and Evan's not even close to that yet. So like, do we wait another couple of years for that to happen, or do we just stop putting the expectation on him that he's going to be a Hall of Famer and just say, okay, unless he puts on weight, this kid's going to be okay? And every team needs okay players, and they need good players, and like, I think there's a lot of expectation being put on a guy that like just hasn't proven much of anything yet, outside of the fact that he's an elite defender, and that's great. The Cavs need elite defenders. That's awesome. But like, I don't think we should be, using him as the number one option for the Cavaliers as, a scorer.
Unfortunately, between family stuff and not being able to watch the Cavs game because of Bally's. How did Imani Bates look last night? He got some minutes I seen, and I seen his stats were all right, but those could be misleading. So I didn't get to watch. So if you saw it,
I didn't get to watch either. No, I was not there.
Anybody get to watch the Cavs game?
Imani Bates looked good. I mean, he's going to jack up shots when he gets the opportunity. Look, the Cavs in general shot less than 30% from three, less than 40% from the field last night. Even with the injuries, the ball movement was there. People aren't knocking down shots. We're getting open looks in the corner for Dean Wade. We're getting open looks for Max Strus still, even though the injuries are there and guys, there's more focus on a guy like Strus. He was still getting open looks. Went 1 for 7 from the floor last night. Not good enough. Again, I'm not overreacting, and I'm not going to push Evan Mobley out of town or anything like that, but the reality is he's not playing for what we're being told that he is supposed to be and how this team sees Evan Mobley. And the rest of the squad is not playing. They keep talking about we had to get tougher after that Knicks series. Through the first 4 games, I haven't seen them learn their lesson yet.
Yeah, I think it's too early. I agree with you that Evan hasn't given you enough, but like I think it's too early. I think you gotta, give him a little while. But I do agree that I don't think it's Evan's fault. I think it's all this narrative about Evan being this and that. I don't think he's ever been that. I don't think he'll ever be that. And maybe that's just my bad opinion, but it's the reality that I see is that I see him as like, maybe like a Big Z, which is still an all-star caliber player.
Yeah.
Or Bosch. Bosch was the third option for the Heat, and he was extremely.
No, the Cavs would love him to be Chris Bosch. I don't think he's Chris Bosch.
But I'm saying Chris Bosch in Miami, where he didn't get the opportunities he was in Toronto, but he was there being defensively, passing the ball from the paint, and getting the rebounds and playing defense. Like Miami didn't want Chris Bosch scoring 26 points a game. They wanted his defensive rebound and passing, really.
I think the Cavs would be lucky to get Miami Chris Bosch out of Evan Mobley.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
And
that's what we want him to be. That's what he should be.
Yeah.
And see, what we're seeing from Evan Mobley is what the night he was drafted, what I initially thought he was, and then just like everybody else, I started hearing like how the Cavs saw him and started to see him on the floor and thought he was, I thought he was a little bit better than what I even anticipated. But I think he is what he is, and it's great to have that specialty on defense. You're still going to be in the league for a long time if you can continue to play great defense. But being the star and being the focal point of this team, I didn't see him as that initially, and I let too much of that, just like how Hayden was just talking about, like that, how he's been built up. And I think every fan has heard that and is now maybe even more so than me overly criticizing him and either they don't want anything to do with him because of that narrative that they've heard. Like this, you're not what I'm being told you are. Like, and that's not fair to the player of Evan Mobley. That's not
That's exactly it. Is that like he shouldn't be getting blamed for that because it's not that he's not working hard. It's not that he's not a good player. It's that the organization is, touting him as this otherworldly next Giannis, which is just a ridiculous, that's a ridiculous comparison to begin with. And when he's not playing up to him, it's playing up to that. It's not his fault. He doesn't have that capability. So like, I don't see Evan as anywhere near that. I see Evan as an elite, generational defensive player and a guy that can maybe help you a little bit on offense. But like, KG is an elite player of all. Like these guys are the guys that he's being compared to are just elite players in general.
They're trying to have him fill the void LeBron left, I think.
Right. Dirk Nowitzki is like a top 5 scorer in NBA history, and we're comparing Evan Mobley to him. Yeah. Like, come on. That's completely unfair.
Yeah. You never want to be the guy after the guy either. Like if the people are trying to build Evan Mobley up to be that, like that's just, again, that's not fair to him. Real quick, Hayden.
No, it's not.
You think we're going to get a Guardians manager announced here anytime soon?
Probably December. Yeah.
Probably December.
Probably before December. They'll let the World Series play out. They'll do a couple more interviews. I would say probably before December.
Do you take?
I don't know. I don't know who it's going to be. I have no idea.
Right, but is it concerning at all that they've had like some of their maybe what we're being told their top targets just turn them down for even interviewing, and that is it concerning to you like how extensive they are going through this process, like how many candidates they have?
No, I'm not concerned with any of it. I've told people before, I would put my life in the hands of Chris Antonetti and Mike Chernoff. I would. I trust those guys immensely. I think they're incredibly bright. I think they're incredibly good at their jobs. And I think they'll pick the right candidate. Now, I think it's great that they do have such a wide net. Interview as many candidates as you can, see what you're looking for, see what you find. I don't like the fact that Sarbaugh is going to leave, and I don't like the fact that some of the other guys are going to leave. But like, you do need some new blood in there if you're going to have a new manager. And I like the fact that they kind of have this wide net of different guys. So like, I would trust anybody they bring in unless I think it's really bad. Like, if they like bring in Manny Acta again or something. I mean, which they wouldn't do. So I'm very excited, very intrigued to see what they're going to do at the manager spot, and looking forward to that immensely.
Yeah, the Sarby news today definitely hit myself and my wife, who are big baseball fans. But like you said, trust these guys in this front office, because what the resources they've been given, what they've been able to do, and help Terry Francona and this organization stay in contention or stay relevant over these last 11 years has been tremendous. And I have nothing but faith that they're going to find the right guy for this next group and this young group that they have. Hayden Grove, Cleveland.com. Thank you so much for taking some time here tonight to join us. Always love having you in the show.
Got any plugs?
Yeah, any plugs that you want?
I mean, you do all like
floor.
7 different things.
Yeah,
you got something coming
when's
out.
your next when's your next outing to like singing event? Because I know holidays are coming up, so you're gonna have a lot of them.
Yeah, check out my events page, haydenfrankgrove.com/events. I'm singing at Crocker Park tomorrow, and just go check out the events page. I'm all over. December will be a crazy month with Christmas coming around, so looking forward to it. So yeah, at @H_Grove on all platforms, and check out my stuff.
Yeah, check out Hayden Grove. He does a tremendous job. He's been on more than once, so he's considered a friend of this show, and we always enjoy talking to you, Hayden. Thank you so much for coming on tonight.
Guys, thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. There he is, Hayden Grove, Cleveland.com. We got to hit a break. We'll be back right here on the Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network.
Are you struggling to hire the right talent or maybe even find the right career? Vector Technical makes it easy. Since 1992, Vector has provided Ohio employers with a reliable process for hiring and have helped thousands of job seekers advance in their careers. Vector Technical is more than just a temp agency. We invest time to get to know each client and candidate personally. Vector places people in job opportunities that they are truly excited about. Interested in learning more? Visit our website at www.vectortechnicalinc.com to see a full list of our current job opportunities and to find out what Vector Technical can offer you.
Get your gear at voiceoftheland.com/shop.
Welcome back to the Voice of the Land right here on the Big Play Network. We just had a chance and a great conversation with Hayden Grove of Cleveland.com, friend of the show. Always love talking to him. Always love his perspective because he keeps things real like we do here. He sees reality. Like when we used to talk to him about Baker Mayfield, he saw reality with that, and not just people that had an agenda and wanted to push him out of town. That's why I love talking with Hayden. And, we covered the Browns. We kind of talked about the Browns in the first segment. But we also talked Cavs and talked about Evan Mobley. I know what he's saying, and I agree with him that I think Evan Mobley is more of what we've seen from him than he is this superstar that he's being built up to be. But especially when Darius Garland is out, your running mate at center, Jared Allen, is out. You don't have Karis LeVert, who could be a sixth man of the year type candidate. That's the type of run that he went on towards the end of last year and found his role, found his niche with this team. And you don't have your backup point guard. You just have Donovan Mitchell. He's going to get most of the shots. You got to be that second option. You got to be aggressive. Last night I saw Julius Randle push Evan Mobley, got his shoulder into him, never extended the arm. I thought sometimes it could have been an offensive foul, but he was just dipping that strong shoulder into him and literally
just bullying him,
clearing space. Like Evan Mobley moved from his defensive spot backwards 3 times, and it was the same move: shoulder, 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 bucket, shoulder, shoulder,
Dude,
shoulder, bucket.
There's nothing worse than when you can't stop that. Because when I would play in our rec league, I'm supposed to be playing like at a guard position. But then, like, a couple people wouldn't show up, and they're like, Jay, we need you to play center. I'm like, what? And there'd be, like, guys that are, like, 6'5", 280, and they're just backing me down. My little 180 self back then, just backing me down, bullying me. And you feel so, like, I don't know the word to put it, like, defenseless. Like, I can't do nothing. This guy is just beating me up. He's taking my manhood from me. You just get so frustrated in the moment. So I kind of feel bad for the guy, man. He needs to start working out more.
Well, I'm looking at the stats from tonight because, again, they're playing the Knicks tonight. They got beat 109-91 last night. Looks like Karis LeVert is back for the Cavs tonight. He was out last night, so that is good to see. Donovan Mitchell has 23 points. The rest of the starters, Karis LeVert, 7. Evan Mobley, 3. Max Strus, 5. Dean Wade has not offered any points tonight. Looking at the bench, they've gotten 3 from Niang, 4 from Caleb Porter Jr.
He has not been
4
very good for us,
Tristan
Niang.
Thompson. So your leader right now is Donovan Mitchell, and that's the
There's
only
Max Strus
option.
again, 0 for 4 from 3. That dude came in, and his shot is silky smooth. Like, he's got a stroke. But, man, he has been cold as all hell, like, of late.
Yeah, and
Killing us, dude.
And yeah, so not hitting from the 3. I'm trying to look for like percentages here. I'm also looking at like the totals.
Okoro wasn't like in the stats, didn't seem too bad for a guy that you're looking for defense. He was giving you some offense.
Yeah. So
it's just, I don't know, man. This team is so beat up and hurt right now. Like, I just don't care. Like, I give 2 craps. It's the beginning of the NBA season. They're barely trying anyways.
yeah.
I'd rather, like, let me get beat up and hurt now, and then we'll heal up about, the next session of the season, and then by, like, the 3rd and 4th quarter, we'll be good to go.
So we're 7 of 18 from 3 tonight.
That's
start off the
fun.
game. Now, defensively, playing a little bit better. It's 50-49. I mean, it's going back and forth. But 7 of 18 from 3. Like, I think in this new system, I think we're taking too many threes. I get that you have a green light, and if you're a good shooter.
Kevin, do you love the new NBA and its million 3-point shots?
No.
Neither do I.
No.
I don't either. Like, my whole life, I was playing basketball. I was trained to, like, you got to get the ball closer to the hoop so you can get a higher percentage shot, and it just went complete opposite. To, like, pull further away from the hoop and shoot it from deeper than ever.
Well, here's the
And-
good news though. From three, that 7 of 18 is good for 39%. Like, if you're a 39% to 40% 3-point shooter individually, you're looked at as a great shooter. So, like, if you're shooting that as a team, that's actually pretty good. So they're knocking down threes, but Donovan Mitchell needs someone to come with him. If this team is going to get a win tonight,
He can't play hero ball all the
he
time.
can't play hero ball, because guess what? He starts playing hero ball, what do you get back to? You get back to the stanky leg offense that we used to see
And
with
stanky
LeBron.
leg offense kills the rest of your
It's
team's
1-on-5
offense.
at that point. All they have to do, all the defense has to do is just crash in. And if, these shooters on the outside, they're not worried about them. They'll give up a 3-pointer right now because, the Cavs are shooting 39% from 3 tonight, but it's not like someone's going off. It's Donovan Mitchell. I mean, let me look at Donovan Mitchell from 3 tonight. He's 5 of 7 for 71% from 3.
Damn. He's so good, man.
Yeah.
He's so good.
So that means
Oh,
you have 2 3-pointers from the rest of your 12-man squad.
that's terrible.
Yes, that is. So someone else needs to come with him, and that's got to be Evan Mobley.
Like, he just needs to. You ever seen the movie Dodgeball?
Yes.
I need that coach. And he's got to do the same treatment he did to the, like, older guy.
Throwing wrenches at people and knocking them out.
No, you just got to get mad. You got to get angry. That's what I need from Mobley. I want him to get mad.
Yeah. And if you're going to be a big man in this league, like, yeah, there's a finesse game to the 3-pointer, but there are still times.
Dude, like, how lovable is Shaq? Shaq is one of the nicest guys. You just, like, everyone wants to
has a
hang
lot
out
of
with
fun.
Shaq.
Charles Barkley
Dude, and
has a lot
I
of fun.
sure in the hell, dude, you could give me another a foot, and you'd be like, guard Shaq. I'd be like, I'm cool. That dude's mean.
Well, and like
Charles Barkley, mean.
like the NFL, are the rules different? Yeah, so like some of that stuff can't go on that used to go on with those guys. But look, I've
Joel
seen.
Embiid is mean.
Yes, Giannis.
That dude that we cut that's on the Knicks,
Hartenstein.
he's mean. He
Yeah.
plays with an edge. Like, he's upset. Like, teams cut me, and I'm here to get my money, and no one's taking it from me anymore. And
Like,
he's playing with an edge. He plays with an edge.
you seen
That
the-
other guy, Mitchell on their team, he plays mean.
He had 8 points last night. He was 4 for 4 from the floor. All 4 were dunks. I'm pretty sure they were all offensive rebounds coming off the rim because we collapse and we don't, like,
you know who else is mean? Tim Duncan. That dude looks like the calmest guy you'll ever meet. He's one of the biggest blank talkers in the NBA, from what I hear. And because
it doesn't matter how much you guys are friends, you talk off the floor. I'm great with that. I'm also not one of these people. I'm not like one of these older people get off my lawn like, oh my gosh, why are you high-fiving? Why are you guys chatting it up and hugging pregame or postgame? Guess what? I know the new era. I know that they're all friends. Mm-hmm. That's fine. But like LeBron played against Dwayne Wade. He played against Chris Bosh. He played against all his friends. Did he act that way? Did he just back off because his friend was right there next to him or on the other side? No. When the ball goes up in the air, until the final whistle of the game blows, until there are no more minutes or seconds for you to try to win the game, play in the game, all of those friendships need to be blocked out. The players that turn from good to great to all-time great are the ones that are able to block those moments out and just go and do what they are doing. Now, Donovan Mitchell is kind of doing that, and he's having a great game. He's a great player. He's in Madison Square Garden.
Mean.
He's in the mecca of basketball. Most of the time, it's the stars that aren't on the Knicks that see Madison Square Garden as the mecca of basketball. It's not the mecca of basketball for New York Knicks basketball. It's the mecca of basketball for opposing star players, for Big East basketball, for college basketball, for any other basketball event that's not New York Knicks basketball. Knicks are a good team now, so that might start to change. But for everybody else, it's like Madison Square Garden for the Cavs has become what Heinz Field, Acrisure Stadium for the Steelers is for the Browns. Weird stuff, Twilight Zone level stuff happening there.
If they start playing Renegade, I'm out.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool atmosphere, like how like one of the few arenas that has that, like the spotlight just on the court. But boy, this Cavs team needs to step up. Karis LeVert or Evan Mobley needs to be the guy that goes along with Donovan Mitchell. And then if those guys start going, guess what? Now it opens up things for Max Strus. You can go back to him and try to get him off of this difficult night. 1 of 11 so far in a game and a half of basketball against the Knicks. Not what we brought him in for. We brought him in to knock down threes, and he's going to get plenty of open looks. Keep shooting, Strus. I don't want to overreact, but again, there's little things that you don't want to become bad habits that keep coming up as the season goes along. That's what we will call out no matter how early a season is. We got one final break. On the other side, college football playoff rankings, Ohio State. I need to talk about a good team. We'll talk about that next on the Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network.
Are you looking for a career in manufacturing? Vector Technical has you covered. Vector Technical is a 28-year-old staffing firm that is partnered with some of the biggest and the best companies throughout northeastern Ohio. The recruiters at Vector Technical will coach you through the entire job process and will help you land an opportunity that you are truly excited about. Vector does not add any additional fees and offers benefits as well as free online skills training through Penn Foster. To learn more, visit www.vectortechnicalinc.com and make sure to check out our job board to see a full list of our current opportunities and apply.
This is the Voice of the Land, the Big Play Network. Kevin Arnold, always positive J, Peter Tellup, along with you tonight, or if you're listening on replay on Google, Spotify, Apple podcast platforms, watching us on replay on our YouTube channel at Voice of the Land Podcast. We thank everyone and anyone that tunes in for even any sort amount of time to our show. We really appreciate it and appreciate being a part of the Big Play Network.
You're a professional, man. I try to distract this guy right before every, after the break. I'm like, blast off. He's like 5, 4, 3, 2.
Lock in, man.
Well, he's locked in.
Locked in. That's what you got. Hey, cameras go on. Time to go.
He's like,
ball goes up in the air. Time to go.
Face.
Not time to be nice. Time to get to work. Time to be a professional. Evan Mobley and the rest of the Cavs squad, besides Donovan Mitchell.
Time to get professional.
Time to get professional.
Game face.
Game face. Second half,
Don't
game
talk
face.
about it, be about it.
That's right.
Stuff.
That's
Cliche.
right. Now, a team that's kind of being about it this year, they are undefeated. still questions at quarterback there. Each game kind of gives you a roller coaster with Kyle McCord. That is the Ohio State Buckeyes. But they've been ranked as high as 3 in the AP and coaches poll the whole time through these first 8 games. Last night, Buckeyes ranked number 1 in the initial college football playoff rankings. First off, NCAA and the crazy organization that is. Boy, I'm sure that team up north is just going to get
That's a whole nother segment.
Yeah, that's a whole nother segment.
That's
But
another, that's a whole show.
They're trying to continue to be relevant when the NFL is...
The cheaters?
Oh,
Are
them,
you talking about the team up north,
NCAA?
the cheaters up north?
Oh, they're always trying
They're
to...
not even the team no more. They're just cheaters.
They haven't
up
played
north.
anybody. So if they're whining and complaining today that they're 3...
Dude, they cheat against bums.
Yeah. Like, did you guys see the pictures of who, like, allegedly Connor Stallions, this guy that's
Yeah, this is getting wild.
Oh, dressed up in
Central Michigan?
yeah. I heard. I didn't see the pictures, but I heard that. I'm like,
So weird.
Yeah.
wow, that's
Yeah. That
This is
whole-
the most Jim Harbaugh thing of like all time.
yeah.
Like he would do this.
And, I mean, some people would say the same thing about Ohio State, but in this case, I'm sure they'll get a slap on the wrist, just like another big program like Ohio State. Just a slap on the wrist type of thing. Like, everybody would always clamor for that. But, yeah, if they do get heavy sanctions or there's talk of heavy sanctions, you know where he's going. He's leaving. He's going to the NFL.
Oh yeah.
I saw a report to the NFL might not be a good place for him to go right now. They might not. They might want to distance themselves from him right now.
Oh, the NFL doesn't care about
No.
controversy.
No.
True.
No, I mean,
Like we're in the news? Sweet.
I mean,
right.
All news is good news.
I know
for
some
them.
people don't like you to bring it up again, but like the face of your franchise, the $230 million quarterback, I mean, got another chance after some heavy allegations. You know,
Peter's like, after calculating,
pro
Jim
athletes.
Harbaugh will have a job.
Well, I
in
mean,
the
he-
NFL.
Like I'm all
He
for
did have
second chances.
suspension. I mean, he.
Yeah,
You know,
I know,
Washington,
and I'm
yeah.
all for second chances. But when you start getting in, you start doing the same thing, and you still get 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 chances because you're so talented and you can make millions of dollars. Like, all right, you know, the NFL doesn't care. They just want to make money.
But
NCAA,
back to
they
what
just
we were
want to make
talking
money.
about. Do you think they deserve that?
That's what I was going to ask you.
I'd have to say it'd be Georgia, honestly, if I was going to pick a number 1 team, and I'd put Ohio State 2. Because I think Ohio State's defense is playing insanely good.
So I think these early college football playoff rankings tell you something, that the door is kind of open this year. Georgia's won the last 2.
Dude, there's really no
But
dominant NFL
I don't
college
think that,
team this
yeah,
year.
like top of the top against top of the top. I don't think that there is a dominant college.
This
football
would have been
team.
a great year to have the first, 8 team tournament next year?
12.
Is it 12?
Yeah.
12.
This would have been a great year.
Because
for
there's a lot of parity. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, look at Air Force. Look at what they're doing.
Look at Alabama.
well, you look, with the NIL,
Finally falling off, thank you.
with the NIL stuff
they're
and the transfer portal
For Alabama,
changes,
that's a fall off.
you know, that's why it's changed, because now these guys, you know, it used to be, what was it, the transfer portal, you entered in, you had to wait a year. Now it's not. And now with the NIL stuff, it's like, hey, look, there's all this money available for you if you're talented. So these guys, there's no reason for these guys not to jump ship and go to some place where they're going to be the number 1 guy. They're going to play. They're not sitting. I mean, they're not Joe Burrow sitting behind other
Yeah.
quarterbacks at Ohio State.
That's why Caleb Williams has talked about not even going to the NFL,
Yeah, he
like
doesn't need
until he has to, like until his eligibility is up, because he can make more money, or at least make money while he's still playing
he's
college.
making
He
millions.
could probably make more. He could probably make more money.
Yeah.
in college.
Because then he would get advertisement money. He'd make more
I'm ju-
advertisement than NFL contract.
Yeah.
But then if you're a number 1 pick, you're going to get
Yeah, he's probably
endorsement,
Yeah.
ABC.
he's probably already fallen down draft boards after those two losses they suffered.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's just it, though. He's looking at where he's most likely going to go, and that's where he's deciding, hey, maybe
Yeah.
let's stick around for another year.
And it's
See what team gets a better draft pick next year? Maybe a team that had it like ready to, like the Jets.
But then you don't know who's going to trade up. I mean,
yeah. I mean, players not just even in the NBA anymore, players are having a lot more ability to have control of where they go from the start, before the start of their professional careers. Like that's like it was.
I mean, James Harden whined his way into the situation he
I
was.
didn't want to talk about him. I
He's
can't.
the worst. He is the worst.
Oh, and I hear people talking about, well, like the way we talk about James Harden, like we know that he's not about winning championships, so like we kind of put that to the side. We let that go. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What, like that is temper tantrum type stuff.
Here, you want
And
to know how
he
this,
got
here's
his
the
he's
Clippers
gotten his way
season in
3
a
different
bowl.
times, and guess what? He's like the problem. He is the problem.
Here's the Clipper season for you right now. Westbrook's going to throw up bricks. Harden is going to fade away in the playoffs. Paul George is going to get hurt, and Kawhi will stay hurt.
And that's why I think Philly got the better end of the deal.
That's what I told my kid at work's like, oh, they got to crap into the deal. I'm like, no, dude.
They
You
got players
rid
who
of
want to
a
play.
Cancer, and you got role players that can go around Embiid. I'm like, they don't need another superstar there. They're going to empower Maxey and say, Embiid, go get it.
Yeah.
But who cares? There's
They do have a
Sixers. I don't care.
a smaller backcourt than.
I'm just saying, James Harden's the worst.
So Ohio State, guys. Ohio State.
Yeah.
Like,
You trust Mike McCord? Because, I mean, I won a national championship. with
Mike
Cr-
McCord?
No, do you
Kyle?
trust McCord? I might have just stuttered it up.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I think
I
he's,
was like, Mike McCord, what? Who's that? Is he better
Kyle
than Kyle?
McCord, whatever. Do you trust him? Because, I mean, I watched the Buckeyes win a national championship with Krenzel. And I love Krenzel, but he was not a good quarterback for being good.
Right, but Krenzel at least used more options than just one. And I know that option
Did
is
he?
like the best in college football. But, I mean, you
Or
had,
did he
what,
just
Chris Gamble and...
He pretty much handed the ball off to Maurice Corrett, or he ran it, or he threw to Chris Gamble. That was the offense that
No,
year.
but somebody's better
It
defense.
was our defense that was insane, like this team.
I mean, if we can get Emeka Ibuka back, that's going to be huge because then teams can't continuously double Marvin Harrison because guess who's going to be open over the middle? Emeka Ibuka.
Right.
Third down, slot wide receiver. Emeka Ibuka is really, really good. He doesn't get enough coverage because of who's next to him. That's Marvin Harrison Jr. If he can come back from injury, that's great. If Travion Henderson can stay healthy, that run game looks a lot different.
Oh, he's so much better than the other guys.
Prayers out to Maya Williams who has to
Yeah.
go under, season-ending surgery. But Travion Henderson, and then you have, you can use Xavier Johnson, Chip Tranum, Dallin Hayden. Like, you have options in that backfield. Everybody, like, Ohio State, every time that there's a question about them, the next game, it seems like they answer that question like they can go to that level. They can use that. They can use this. The inconsistency of Kyle McCord, and yes, I know he only has 3 interceptions on the year, but those big moments, hostile environments, you're going to go to one at the end of the year. That's the game you're going to have to win. That's what's going to determine all of this. You need to win that one, get to a Big Ten championship, take on who's ever in the West, who's probably a crap-ass team. Look, that's what this season is going to come down to, is that last game. And it is fair or unfair.
Well,
You're getting
they can't
5-star
cheat this
recruits
year,
all over
so
the place.
We got a better chance.
Yeah, I don't put it all on the cheating, though. Like, we have been out physical.
I'm gonna constantly
Just
put it on
like
the
the
cheating now.
Cavs and the Knicks. Cavs against the Knicks. Like, what I've seen...
So here's the deal.
This Ohio State team, and I'm not upset with all of it. Like I've liked the toughness and the physicality that this team has shown, and this defense has shown. But Jim Knowles and that defense has to do it up at that school up north.
I'm gonna.
The
Well,
offense.
you're not gonna say it wasn't because of that though. Since the Buckeyes have always been good and they've given me my 2 championships, I'm totally gonna blame it on them cheating.
Cavs gave you a championship.
I let them off the hook all the time too. Why do you think I said I didn't care what's going on with their season? I'm like,
Hey.
all right, they're the
Hey.
Cavs, man. They're gonna pull it together. It's early in the season. We'll be fine. It's just people are hurt. The Cavs will have a pass forever, dude. The
Hey.
Browns, not so much.
Hey, we're up right
And
now.
the Guardians, Not so much.
Maybe we'll get a manager. Maybe we'll talk about that next week.
I'll tell you this much. I didn't say it when Hayden was on. I don't have that much faith in this team right now. I think we're going to go in a bad place. How many coaches did we go through after Mike Hargrove? Before we got Tito.
Yeah, you don't want to be you don't want to be the guy after the guy.
You know why the only reason we got Tito is we were lucked out, because it's pretty much like the LeBron effect. We lucked out by getting him to come back because he was from here. Tito's dad played here, and I frankly think he was so sick of the Boston media. He's like, all right, I'm going home where I know these people. Dude, who's going to want to coach this team? Like, hey, guys, we're going to bring you in here, and we're going to give you this hell of a pitching staff, and then when the guys get really, really good, we're going to trade them for people to build a future. Meanwhile, we're going to stick you out with this outfield that hits like a combined 4 home runs all season long, and we got this Hall of Famer at third base, but we're really not going to surround him with too much. We'll give you Josh Naylor, and that's about it. Or they're going to go, or we can go to this big market team like New York Mets, who's just going to be like, we'll spend whatever you need on whatever player. What are you going to do?
I don't know. I mean, look, Sandy doesn't want the job. Will Venable turn him down?
Like your own team.
Craig
people are turning you down.
Craig Counsell's either staying with Milwaukee or he's going to New York with the Mets because
he
they
ain't
overpay.
coming here. I don't want him here.
You want Stephen Vogt?
I can't look at that dude all year long. I have bad memories of that guy.
Why wasn't Mike Sarbuck considered? Why is DeMarlo Hale's name just somehow out of it? Are they trying to clean? Like, if they're trying to clean house and do like a whole new philosophy, like I understand that. I don't like seeing Sarby go because he's been great for us, but yeah, I have faith that they can make the right decisions, and this front office has shown us that. But they're hampered by, well, if Craig Counsell's more interested in this job than the Mets, but he likes the money from the Mets more than us, and I can hear the conversation already. Chris Antonetti goes to Paul Dolan, hey, if we can kind of come close to that number, we can get a really good baseball mind in here. No, I'm sorry, we can't give you that money. Where's this minority owner that's supposed to be gradually taking over? I haven't seen any of that money infused. Like, this keeps going back, and I think people turn them down because part of it is the financials. And, yeah, I know we can't pay up and pay a lot of money all the time, but sometimes Emmett says it all the time on ESPN Cleveland, scare money don't make money.
Has anyone talked to Myles Garrett about the minority ownership of the Guardians?
No. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, he bought the Cavs. Oh, I see
Oh,
what
yeah.
you're saying. Yes. Miles.
Went right over his head, Peter.
Yeah.
Right over his head.
That's a guy that could walk into the office and be like, spend money, and they're going to be like, yes, sir. He just flex his arm and be like, we'll spend whatever you want. Please don't sack me.
Yeah. Literally and figuratively.
He wear the Jeepers Creepers outfit in there, and it'll really scare him into doing some business.
Well,
It'd scare Kevin, too, though.
How'd that work out, though?
It wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault. And I will never get on the train of...
TJ Watt makes plays. As much as I hate him, Myles Garrett made a play on the drive before. But if you're going to be an all-time great and you're going to be Defensive Player of the Year, you got to go make the next play. You have to make that play.
I'm not putting that one on.
You have to put the game winner. I'm not putting.
We're ending the show. I'm not getting into this conversation.
I'm not putting it on Myles.
I'm just saying. I won't blame him at all for that loss. Could he have done one more play? Sure. All I'm going to say is his costume had nothing. Like, people were like, he shouldn't be concentrating on wearing a costume. It took him. He paid someone to go get him the costume and do the stuff. It had nothing. The costume had no outcome.
I could say.
You could.
At the start of the game, the defense looked like they saw Jeepers Creepers all over the place in Seahawks uniforms. But then they stepped it up and then didn't finish. So, it's a roller coaster, and it's just great to be a Cleveland fan. Never a dull day in Cleveland.
Never.
That's it for the Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network. I'm Kevin Arnold. He is always Positive J. For Peter Tellep. Don't let anyone ever tell you it's just a game. We love you all, 3,000.
Don't talk about it. Be about it.
And live life. All gas, no brakes. We'll be back another time here on the Voice of the Land on the Big Play Network.